What's good, teacups? Welcome back to my channel. We have made it through the first week of the new year. Shout out to you. You did an amazing job. Shout out to me. I did an amazing job. So this first episode of Cookin with Tea lands on a Soul Food Sunday. So I thought it was only proper to make a Hoppin John. So Hoppin John is a black-eyed pea dish that originated from the South, which is where my dad's side of the family is from. Today I'm going to be making it vegan, so we're not going to be using any kind of smoked turkey or smoked ham hocks, which is what we originally used down south to make these peas. We're gonna be infusing our broth with just lots of vegetables, spices, and herbs, and it's delicious. I cannot wait to share the recipe with y'all. But before we get into it, you know what I'm about to say, right? Tap in with the kid. Make sure you guys click the thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, and yeah, let's get cooking. So we have some fresh bay leaf, fresh thyme. We got some vegan butter, tomato paste, veggie base, a blend of spices. We have collard greens, and we have Holy Trinity, as well as some garlic. And then we have our black-eyed peas that have been soaking overnight. We have some homemade veggie stock, Worcestershire, and the recipes down below. So let's start off by preparing our veggies for our broth. I'm gonna take a red bell pepper, and it's gonna be super simple. We're just gonna cut off the parts of the bell pepper we're gonna use. I like to do it this way. You could totally cut it however you like to. And then we're going to julienne our bell pepper. You don't have to get too crazy on the cuts with this because it's gonna all be essentially cooked down. Take out any of this white pith-like piece, and then this end piece I kind of just like chop up like that. Once we have our bell peppers into juliennes, I like to take a manageable pile of bell pepper and I just kind of like roughly chop it. And we're gonna repeat until all of the bell peppers are cut up. So once our bell peppers are chopped, you're just gonna set them aside. All right, we got some celery stalks. We're gonna take the bottom off and a little bit of the top we're gonna trim off as well. We're gonna cut them in half, and then we're just going to, like, once more make kind of like bâtonnet, or like little tiny sticks out of the one celery stick. And then we're just going to cut. We're just gonna cut all the way through until celery is done. We're gonna set that aside. Now we're getting into cutting up some onion. I'm only gonna use half of this onion actually. I always find it easier to peel the onion after it has been cut. Then we're gonna remove this little part here, but not cut all the way through. Then we're gonna cut there as well. And then we're going to just a standard kind of rough medium dice with our onion. And then we'll go down this way. All right, so we got our onions. We're gonna pop them into this bowl with our celery. Now we're gonna get into our garlic. We're gonna take a garlic head, or if you have cloves. Ooh, oh my God, y'all, I tried. Attempt number 2. We're gonna do that again. Wow, you're great, T. You're amazing. You're doing great, sweetie. Doing great, sweetie. I like to do that to pretty much release all of the cloves out of the head. I'm gonna do 4 cloves of garlic. To release any kind of garlic like I just did, you're just gonna smash it and it'll just come right off like that. Super standard. We're just gonna chop up some garlic. So I love Hoppin John. My grandmother used to make it for me as a kid a lot. She used to obviously put ham hocks in it, but I started a juice cleanse at the beginning of the year, and I'm vegan right now. And that's why I'm making the vegan version. Like that, that's totally perfect. All right, so we got some collard greens, y'all. Collard greens. Beautiful color, texture, and having collard greens and black-eyed peas together, I mean, there's just no other way to do it, in my opinion. So I'm just gonna take the stem out of the collard greens, and then I'm gonna cut it in half and set them on top of each other. I'm gonna stack them. So you can rip the stem out if you like, but I kind of find, like, I don't know, sometimes the stem gets stuck halfway for me, and then I'm having to rip it out anyway, so might as well just do it in one swoop. I clean my collard greens in vinegar water, just like my grandmother and her mama and her mama and her mama's mama. Boom, bada bing, boom, bada bing. You get it. Stack the greens. Stack the greens this year. Can we do that? Let's manifest stacking greens this year. And you know it's gonna come to fruition, baby. We're gonna just continue until all of our greens are stacked up. Now that the greens are stacked, we wanna take a manageable pile. All right, so we're gonna take a little stack and then we are going to roll them up. And yes, if you guessed it, we're just gonna do a nice little chiffonade, nothing too crazy here. A chiffonade is pretty much this exact knife cut that I'm showing you. You take a stack of leaves, whether it be large ones like this or small ones like basil, and you just stack it and then you just roll it. And depending on how thick or thin the chiffonade is, you wanna say a thin chiffonade or a thick chiffonade. I feel like this is kind of a little bit on the medium side. And just like that, we are there. So now we're gonna set aside our collard greens until later. We're gonna put them in a bowl here. So super easy, we've chopped up everything. Now we're gonna get into flavoring that nice veggie broth and cooking our black eyed peas, okay? Let's talk about veggie broth for a second. Let's do that. So I wanna show you guys my beautiful homemade veggie broth. This veggie broth is super bomb. I get a nice deep dark color like this because I use mushrooms. I be using mushrooms in it and it gives a nice umami depth, nice meaty flavor. It's so good. You could totally use store-bought veggie broth as well. I'm just saying, I'm proud of my veggie broth, so I wanted to show y'all how I did it, what was popping with it. So we're gonna take all of those things that we chopped up and add them into this veggie broth. All right, y'all, so we're going and heading over to our cooking area because it's time to cook. It's cooking with tea, that's why we're here. So we typically use a Dutch oven just like this one to cook our black eyed peas. Well, my grandmother always used something like this, and her grandma used something like this, and her mama used something like this, and her grandma used something like this. All right, so I went ahead and I turned on my Dutch oven to a medium low heat. I'm gonna start in by adding some olive oil into. So to start, we're going to add in our onions and celery. We're gonna let this cook out for a few moments. Cook. We like to build flavors. We like to layer. So I'm gonna add a little bit of salt into our onions and celery, and I'm gonna let that cook out for about a few minutes. I like to cook out my vegetables before I get into adding anything else. So I'm gonna add in my bell pepper. I'm just gonna cook this out. I'm gonna let it do its thing. So this has been cooking down with the bell peppers for about 8 minutes now. As you can see, the onions are really soft. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the garlic. I'll cook that out as well. Just for a minute or 2 minutes to release the aroma from the garlic. Now I'm gonna add another pinch of salt. Garlic is in, it smells delicious. My little ramekin here, I have a vegetable base and a tomato paste. So this tomato paste is just to add some color and depth and flavor. I'm gonna add that in there, as well as our vegetable base. I'm gonna cook it out with our veggies. Let that cook out for a few moments. So in our ramekin here, we have a blend of spices. I have some smoked paprika. I use smoked paprika today because it's gonna add that nice smokiness that you would get from like a smoked turkey leg. I got some oregano, celery salt, garlic powder, onion powder, mustard powder, cayenne, and chili flake. The measurements for everything is down below in the deets, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and add this in with our veggies. The reason I'm adding the spice into all of our vegetables with this fat is because we're adding heat to it and fat, which makes the spices open up, which is what we like to call blooming. So I'm blooming all of the spices versus just popping them in there when the stock is there because, like I said, we like things flavorful and seasoned and layered. Each little thing counts. I'm telling you, each little step counts. Now I'm going to be adding in some vegan butter. So we don't have any fat from that ham hock, you know, we don't have any fat from that protein, that smoked turkey leg. So I'm going to add in our fat now, which is also going to release any kind of fond that gets stuck to the bottom of our Dutch oven. And fond is the little spices or flour or something that kind of just gets stuck to the bottom here. So I'm just releasing that. Fresh thyme and fresh bay leaf. Look at that. It's almost like a spicy Cajun-y sofrito that I have working in here right now. Once it's looking like this, we're gonna go ahead and add in our veggie stock. Look at that, look at the depth in that color. So I'm gonna go ahead and add our soaked black-eyed peas into our delicious stock and base that we created together. When I tell you, this smells so good right now. Y'all have no idea. All right, y'all, so now we're gonna go ahead and add our lid to the black-eyed peas, and then we're gonna bring it up to a boil, and then we're gonna check it, and then we're gonna set our timer after the liquid starts to boil. Black-eyed peas, or beps, are boiling and doing their thing. I'm gonna go ahead and just give it a little bit of a mix. Now I know this is where I can start the countdown because now that the liquid is boiling, this counts as cooking process. So I'm gonna go ahead and set my timer for 45 minutes and then I'm gonna check it out 45 minutes. All right, y'all, so the black-eyed peas have been cooking for 45 minutes now. We're gonna go ahead and give it a stir and a taste. As you can see, it's reduced a bunch. That's a good thing. That means that the beans have been absorbing up all of that beautiful broth we got. I'm gonna go ahead and now give it a taste. That's gas. At this moment, I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of Worcestershire. Yum. I'm gonna go ahead and actually taste the black-eyed pea and see what the texture is like. I know that they're not all the way cooked, but I just wanna gauge how much time I have left. Okay. So we have about 25 minutes left of the cooking process. I'm gonna go ahead and add in some collard greens now. Ooh, yes. Collard greens. Make sure you get them all up in the liquid, you know. We push them in there. You can kind of crush the beans as well a little bit. This is a trick that my grandma always did. She kind of like mashed her black-eyed peas so that way it kind of like makes for a different creamier texture when the beans are like broken up. So you can go ahead and kind of like mash it down, mash those greens in there. BRB. All right, y'all, so we've cooked it down for another 25 minutes. Look at them collard greens. They look perfectly cooked. I like my collard greens a bit toothy. So this is the perfect consistency for me. If you like your black-eyed peas a little bit less brothy than this, you can go ahead and cook it with the lid off for about another 10 minutes. But I think right here, this is exactly what I'm looking for. All right, so we have a bit of white rice in my plate here. This is totally optional. You guys don't have to serve it with rice. I was just craving a little bit of rice. And I'm gonna take some of these black-eyed peas. Make sure you remove any of the thyme, stems, and bay leaf if you get it. And then we're just gonna go ahead and pop it onto the rice. Carbs on carbs, I've been craving this. Make sure you get some of them greens. Whatever I'm making, I add some freshness to it. Whether it be fresh parsley or some celery leaves, I just always make sure that like I have some kind of freshness going down on the plate. And then I always add a little bit of brightness. So I'm gonna add just a little bit of lemon zest to brighten this up. Ooh, child, ooh, child, ooh, child. Yes, yes. Okay, let's eat this. Look at this, this is hefty right here. First of all, this smells so, so, so good. Go ahead and kind of mix it up. Make sure I'm getting the juices from the black eyed peas and the rice. That's a major key, major key. Wow, this is so freaking bomb. You can't even tell this is like vegan. Let's get a bite of these collards. Oof. Those collards are soaked in that amazing broth we made. And they're the perfect texture. I like when my collards have like a little bit of bite to them. Honestly, this is so gas. We have a lot of flavors going on right now. We got like smokiness, we got salty, we got this umami from that stock that we have. I did that. I did that. I did my thing, okay? Shoot. My ancestors would be proud of me. Period. So thank you so much for tapping into another episode of Cooking with Tea. I wish you so much love, abundance, peace, blessings, and all the happiness. Claim it, own it, manifest it. Until next time, happy cooking.